And now this Empoleon's gonna throw. Now I figured at this low of a health, I could probably farm down. I'll have to use the shield, but I think I could farm down here. And I think my only win condition is to farm down and have energy ready to throw at that Togekiss. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload daily PvP content, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Dylan Howe, thank you for the support. So in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Open Ultra League. So not the Premier Cup, everybody's playing Premier. Honestly, I think that's an opportunity for people to actually gain points in the Open version of Ultra League, because there is probably less competition in Ultra League right now for the Open Cup as opposed to Premier Cup. And I did recently, actually today, I made the leaderboard finally in Go Battle League. Obviously, I just barely made it in. I'm number 418, but you know, it's pretty cool to be on the leaderboard. Obviously, I'm not the best player by any means, but I am a player looking to improve and become better at PvP, and I think reaching the leaderboard is a positive sign towards that. Hopefully I can continue improving and becoming a better battler. And today we are going to be taking a look at a team which I used quite a bit last season in Ultra League, consisting of Giratina Lead with Swampert and Articuno. So let's get into the battles right now. So let's get right into these battles. First match against Benji9425. And these are rank 9 battles. This is just about when I got back into 2500, so first matchup, Registeel into Giratina. This is a pretty even match. Registeel does win it, even after the sort of nerf, I guess, to Registeel. Not really too much of a nerf, but it doesn't really affect this match too much. So just gonna go for Shadow Sneaks here. Did speed up the videos quite a bit because a lot of them are sort of repetitive matches, and Giratina versus Registeel is kind of straightforward. There isn't really too much strategy involved. You just basically throw your charge when you get it, and then depending on whether you want to use your shields, you could either win this match or you could lose it. Generally, I let the Giratina go down, but in this particular matchup, as you can see here, I actually did decide to shield here and see if the opponent was willing to give up switch advantage. So I shield up that flash cannon. I'm gonna go for the Dragon Claw here. And this actually does not KO the Registeel, and they switch out instead of getting farmed down, so they bring in the Grand Bull. So now they're switch locked into Grand Bull here, and I have a decision to make either Swampert or Articuno. Now I bring in Articuno here, and the main reason why I'm bringing Articuno here is because if they have something in the back that like hard walls Articuno, you want that Swampert in there. So something like that might be like a Melmetal. I mean, it's very unlikely they're going to run a Melmetal at this point because they showed Registeel first. But gonna bring an Articuno here as a pretty good matchup, and we're down 2 shields because I did use a second shield in this matchup to keep Articuno alive. Opponent's gonna bring in Swampert. Now the one disadvantage here is that the opponent actually switched out that Registeel, so this Swampert actually will be able to reset the debuff. Now I bring in my own Swampert here because I know I'm gonna be taking resisted damage, or sorry, not resist damage. I'm gonna be taking lessened damage because of the debuff from Icy Wind. So opponent switched on to Registeel here. Had to anticipate that switch, and we farmed down without throwing. Now we have 2 Hydro Cannons ready to throw at this Swampert. This first Hydro Cannon is actually going to go unshielded, but the second one is definitely going to command the shield. So opponent's going to choose to burn the shield here, and it's going to be a race to the Hydro Cannon. They're going to beat us to it, of course, but they're going to have to waste all their energy here because they can't overfarm. We'll be able to bring an Articuno here, and because we did go out with a bit of energy, we have the Icy Wind more or less ready. Could throw that here at the Swampert, and this is going to win us the game. So paid off there, even though we went down 2 shields, but good start. Next match against Empoleon38410. And I'm gonna be leading Giratina into Cresselia. So again, honestly, this match is a lot more enjoyable now after Cresselia's 30% has been lowered to 10%, because I used to feel like the attack was always dropped. But now it's a lot more manageable, it's a lot more playable, and a lot less tilting. So Moonblast comes through. It's actually a bit more tilting if you do get the attack debuff at this point because there's a lower percentage of it, but it's fine. So Moonblast is going to come here. We didn't shield the first one, but the second one I am going to shield here. And we are going to build up for another Shadow Sneak. Going to throw this. And because they did use a shield of their own, I'm forced to burn a second shield here. I pretty sure Moonblast is going to KO in this range, but we could farm down now. So we're down a shield, but we maintain switch. Gyarados comes in, and I should be able to throw 2 Dragon Claws here. I'm totally fine with staying in this matchup here because I know that I'm going to be able to apply a lot of pressure with these Dragon Claws. And even if he farms me down, I could bring in the Articuno, which is going to take not too much damage, to be honest, from whatever it throws at us. Either Crunch or Aqua Tail most likely is what it's usually going to have. So a bit of a gamble there, but I'm banking on the fact that he's going to have Aqua Tail or Crunch. So as you can see, we take that pretty well. And we could actually commit to a farm down here if we want. We'll have to take some Aqua Tails, but we will be in a very good spot. He switches out into Registeel, so I'm going to actually debuff it first by throwing this Icy Wind and then bringing in the Swampert. And at this point, it's a very dominant position to be in, especially with the debuff, so the opponent backs out. Next match against Rhino 0524. And leading Giratina into Giratina Origin Form. So Giratina Origin Form actually is a very good pick in Open Ultra League and should win this matchup here. So I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw first. A lot of it actually comes down to baiting with Omnis Wind and Shadow Ball. So this first one here, he built enough for a Shadow Ball, so I'm just going to decide to shield it. He might be running Shadow Ball and Dragon Pulse, for example. So I shield the first one, and now we're in a really good spot because if he baits, we're pretty much going to take switch. So he's going to throw here. This honestly seems like it's going to be an Omnis Wind, but by shielding here, I could pretty much guarantee that I'm going to win switch advantage. So I decide to just do that. He brings in the Melmetal here, and obviously we have a great counter for that in Swampert. So even though we're down a shield, I'm going to bring in Swampert here. And if this Melmetal decides to throw Superpower, which I was waiting for it to throw first, just in case it lowers its defense. So it throws the Superpower. I'm going to throw the Hydro Cannon here, but unfortunately for us, it actually gets back-to-back with the CMP tie. That's probably the worst thing in this game, that back-to-back CMP thing. So I actually undercharged slightly here because he's debuffed himself twice on his defense. So I figured I could farm down, and now we have a lot of energy on this Swampert. The Giratina is likely going to come back in, and we'll be able to throw a Hydro Cannon at it, which at its health should be enough to KO because it was actually really low when it switched out. Yeah, so it goes down, brings in the Scavalier, and I'm going to throw the Hydro Cannon here. And now I'm going to switch into the Articuno. And basically once I debuff this, it's going to be in a really tough spot because it didn't shield that Hydro Cannon. So opponent backs out and we take that match. Cucumber Boy is up next. And I believe this is a match where I had a lot of misplays, so let's take a look at how this played out. Actually taking a very long time to start the battle there. Usually when it takes that long, it errors out, so it didn't this time. Pretty interesting. Giratina into Cresselia. Okay, this is it's a winnable match for us, obviously, right? We have to use shields, but it's not the worst scenario to be in. So I'm going to throw the Shadow Sneak here. Moonblast should be coming. And I'm going to let the first one go through as always. Don't get the attack debuff, so that's great. I'm going to throw another Shadow Sneak here. Opponent's going to let that go through, that's fine. So usually when this happens, I tend to shield this second one. And then I will go for the Dragon Claw here, which should be enough to KO in this range. So Dragon Claw comes through, knocks out the Cresselia, and let's see what the opponent's answer is going to be. They bring in a Registeel. Okay, so in this situation, obviously I can't bring out the Swampert here because then I'll get switch locked into something else and I'll have no answer for that Registeel back. So I have to let the Giratina go down here. Just throw as much damage as I can in this scenario. Flash Cannon comes through, just about knocks us out. And now we're going to bring in the Swampert. Expecting the switch to come through. Looks like he's going to throw a Focus Blast before doing that. I think I make a mistake here by not building up for the Earthquake and just throwing the Hydro Cannon because he doesn't have to shield that, obviously. He knows he's going to survive. So I think that's the first mistake I made in this match. I just wanted to get something off before he threw the charge move, but definitely a mistake. This is my second mistake here. I had to switch out immediately because I cannot afford to be locked in to Articuno versus Registeel for any time. And because I continue over farming here trying to catch the move, and I'm forced to burn the shield. So at this point, I've already screwed myself because I've already given up too much time to lock the Registeel into the Articuno. He's going to be able to switch out actually before I'm even able to knock out the Scavalier with Articuno. So I've already done a bunch of misplays here. You definitely want to switch out as soon as possible. Even if I threw that Hydro Cannon, I should have switched out right away, not tried to overfarm and tried to catch the move onto the Articuno. Very poorly played. You could see he switches out the Scavalier relatively good health still remaining. Registeel comes in here, doesn't have to use his shield, and he's going to be able to farm up a lot, throw the flash cannon, which is going to knock out the Articuno here. And my only play here is to actually commit to a farm down. I don't think I'd be able to, but that was the only win condition, because I had to have 2 Hydro Cannons ready for this Scavalier in the back, because he has a shield. So even if I hit the Hydro Cannon here, he's going to shield this up and be able to farm me down. So the win condition was to farm down there with Registeel. Again, I don't think I'd be able to do it, but that was the only win condition, so I had to go for it no matter what. I didn't do that. Too many mistakes in that match. We're going to lose when that happens. So, big loss there. Giratina to Gyarados here in the next match. I believe this was against Brink was his name. So this is actually a pretty bad matchup for Giratina, assuming they have Crunch. So I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw here. And I can't recall, but I don't think Giratina wins this match in any scenario. Unless you correctly call the Crunch both times and he actually baits with an Aqua Tail and you call that. So I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw here. He actually switched, that was really good for us. Took that damage onto the Snorlax, which wasn't amazing, but still a pretty good situation. So we did win switch. Going to come in with Swampert here. Throw the Hydro Cannon. Now the one problem here is that if he tends to have something in the back, like say a Registeel, I've pretty much lost this game, or like a Melmetal, because I have nothing else to counter by bringing out my Swampert here. Usually Snorlax isn't the type of Pokemon you bring out to like bait out the Swampert, so I wouldn't assume he has that in the back, but I guess we'll find out here. And he throws the Body Slam. Gonna let that one go through. He switches back out into Gyarados here, so preserves the health on his Snorlax. Gonna throw the Hydro Cannon here. Let's see if this gets the shield. I'm gonna switch out into Articuno here. Reason I'm switching on to Articuno is because it could take this damage from Gyarados pretty well. And we're gonna have to see what he has in the back. So I'm gonna throw this Icy Wind here. And that's going to knock out the Gyarados. And he brings in Empoleon. So at this point, you know, Giratina is still very good against Empoleon, but Swampert would have definitely been a lot better with that Earthquake threat. Shields are still up, so I'm just trying to debuff here. But because he did switch out, obviously he could still reset those debuffs, so I'm not really doing too much in this situation. And I'm letting him farm up a lot of energy. So, probably a mistake there. I knew he was going to switch into Snorlax, so I committed to the farm down. And that was actually really important for me to do there, because that was a big part of the win condition. I had to commit to that farm down to build up enough energy. I need to get the shield here with Dragon Claw. So I'm going for the bait less energy cost move. He does shield that, so now that's great. I should definitely be going for Shadow Sneak here, because that's more energy efficient. But at this point I should be able to survive the next charge move. I wasn't able to sack the Swampert, as you can see. And I should be able to get to the Shadow Sneak before he's able to farm down the Waterfall. We get there in the nick of time, and Shadow Sneak is going to be enough to knock out the Empoleon, and we're going to take that game. So the aggressive farm on the Snorlax switch in was very important, that we didn't throw our energy, because we needed literally every amount of energy to knock out that Empoleon in the end. So next match against Victor Wave, he's leading a shiny Empoleon into Giratina. This is a really good matchup for Giratina. Just going to go straight Shadow Sneak here. And most Giratinas are running Hydro Cannon. Sorry, not Giratina. Most Empoleons are running Hydro Cannon and Drill Peck. Not too much of a threat to Giratina at all. So you could pretty much just farm up here. The opponent's actually doing a very interesting play here. He's taking all this damage and actually switching out with 2 Hydro Cannons worth of energy. Brings in the Ground Bolt to catch this Dragon Claw. I'm going to switch out now. It's actually Clefable, not a Ground Bolt. And I'm going to come in with Swampert. So I'm going to throw Hydro Cannon here. Argument could be made that I could have came in with Articuno, but at the time of this happening, my assumption was that he probably had a Giratina or something weak to Articuno in the back, so I wanted to preserve it and just bring in the Swampert now. So as you can see, we're going to shield this up. Moonblast comes through. Going to throw out the Hydro Cannon again. And the opponent is actually going to choose to shield this. So this is pretty interesting, because now they're going to go down a shield, but they do take control of switch advantage. And they still have that Empoleon with a lot of energy here. So I bring in Giratina here, which you might think is a little crazy, but I figured I could knock out the Clefable before it gets another charge move. So that happens there. I was hoping what he would do now is bring in the Empoleon and throw his energy, but he actually brings in Togekiss. So I switch into Articuno. And now this Empoleon's gonna throw. Now I figured at this low of a health, I could probably farm down. I'll have to use the shield, but I think I could farm down here. And I think my only win condition is to farm down and have energy ready to throw at that Togekiss. Now I could be wrong about that. Maybe one Icy Wind would have been enough with the Ice Shards. But as you can see, I ended up being too aggressive there. The Empoleon gets to another Hydro Cannon, knocks me out, and basically an Empoleon with like 10% health knocked out a fully healthy Articuno with the shield, which is pretty insane. And I have no idea how I threw that game. I mean, I do know it was pretty aggressive win condition that I put myself on. And it was probably the wrong one because I think knocking out the Empoleon with the Icy Wind and then throwing one Icy Wind plus Ice Shards would have been enough for the Togekiss, but in the moment that was the decision I made and it was probably the wrong one, so we lost that game. Next matchup here. Okay, so opponent brings out Persiker. I bring in Swampert. And at this point I have to shield. I commit to the farm down here. The main issue with this is that if this opponent is running double steal, I'm kind of in a tough spot. I go for the Earthquake here, which is probably a mistake because if they shield this, which they do, I'm pretty much getting no damage on the Swampert, where at least if I went Hydro Cannon, I could have got another Hydro Cannon off and at least lower the health on the Swampert. So I think that was definitely the wrong play going for Earthquake there. Gonna come back in with Giratina, throw these Dragon Claws, and gonna throw one more. Opponent's choosing to stay in here, so it'll be interesting to see what their third Pokemon is. Would anticipate this to likely be an Earthquake. It is, that's going to hurt. And I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw once more. At this point, I'm definitely not putting the opponent on double steal. So I'm assuming I'm in a pretty good spot, and there it is. Double steal. Literally nothing I can do in this situation. Giratina is way too low, and Articuno in the back is going to have a horrible match. So I tried to catch there with the Articuno, obviously failed, so I have to shield now. But there's pretty much nothing we can do here because one Flash Cannon is going to be enough to take out the Giratina. Double steal, obviously very hard for this team, especially when it baits out the Swampert because I have literally no answer after for the second steel type. It's not too common of a team, so you don't necessarily run into it too often, but when they have two steals in the back, like as you saw here, it's definitely very difficult to come back from that, and as a result, we are going to get destroyed in this game. Pretty much was praying for a boost there to see if I could somehow flip the game, but even an Ancient Power boost would not be enough to come back from this disaster. You can see we actually do get to one more Shadow Sneak here, but the matchup with Articuno versus Registeel was just a bit too much to come back from. And although we made it very close, as you could see, it definitely was too steep of a hill to climb, and well played by the opponent there. Next match against Monozika, and we are going to be leading Giratina to Giratina, so here's a mirror match for you. And the mirror match is actually a lot of fun, assuming it's not Dragon Breath, because Dragon Breath is very difficult, but when it's Shadow Claw versus Shadow Claw, my Giratina tends to perform actually very well in this matchup. So you could see here, it looks like we might have got an extra Shadow Claw in during the attack animation. So I'm going to throw this Dragon Claw here. Opponent chooses not to shield. And at this point, I'm going to let this go through because it's not going to KO. And then we're going to throw our own Shadow Claw, or Dragon Claw rather. That time, it was a CMP tie apparently. So it looks like the opponent has the higher attack stat. They actually shield. And because I believe I got that extra Shadow Claw in, we actually beat them 2 Dragon Claws. So now they either have to go down 2 shields or give up switch advantage down a shield. So we won switch advantage with a shield. Amazing situation to be in. They bring in Swampert. We're going to bring in Articuno. Obviously, because they have Giratina in the lead, it's very unlikely that they're going to have something else that this Articuno is going to need to handle in the back. So I just bring in the Articuno now. And I'm going to throw the Icy Winds at Swampert. Articuno versus Swampert is a very good matchup, obviously, especially after you land that first Icy Wind. Opponent switches into Melmetal. Bring in the Swampert here. Very good position to be in. So you can see winning switch was actually very important because basically whoever won that Giratina Mirror in the lead was going to win this match based on team comp. So we got fortunate to win that. Superpower comes through, lowering their own defense. Gonna throw the Hydro Cannon here. Actually undercharged because I wanted to farm, but he actually shielded. So at this point I don't have to shield this, of course, because the Swampert's gonna be doing more damage. Superpower has been debuffed and he has really lowered his attack. At this point, he does get to one more superpower. So I'm actually going to shield this up. I know he's going to switch, so I did a blind switch there, as you can see. If I did not blind switch there, he would have knocked out my Swampert, and I would have had a pretty hard time knocking out that Melmetal after with this Articuno. So I took a gamble there, assuming that he was going to switch. If he actually did not switch, I would have had my Articuno locked onto the Melmetal, which might have been a problem, but you had to assume that they were going to switch there. So I did it blindly. You could see here the lag comes in. At this point, I was like, what the heck is going on? Am I going to lose this match that I played so well, so dominantly, and be robbed of a very deserving win? Fortunately, the lag stops, the Swampert goes down, Melmetal comes back in. You can see we actually do beat it to the Icy win here. So maybe we would have still won if the blind switch didn't work out as planned. But either way, we end up taking that game. And we move up quite a bit in rating to 2561. So those were some Ultra League battles in the Open League version of it. Personally, I think Open Ultra League is a bit easier right now because so many people are playing the Premier Cup and a lot of the top battlers are doing Premier Cup. I've been trying Open League, I've been having some success in it. Actually, to be honest, I've been going mostly 3-2 every set, and obviously you're going positive, but you don't really gain much points for 3-2, so it's a very, very slow grind up in rating. And you're not gonna probably get to rank 10 just going 3-2 all the time, because you need some 4-1s and some 5-0s to really boost up the rating and to make up for any 2-3s or 1-4s that you may face in the future. Because if you go 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, and then you go 0-5 in the last set, you lose everything you've earned. So it's very crucial to pull off some 4-1s, some 5-0s in Go Battle League for rating based on the current rating system. Now with that said, I did make the leaderboard, and I will probably be off the leaderboard as soon as tomorrow, and we'll see where we go from here. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.